Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday morning mastermind call with Daily Refinement. Thank you so much for joining me. We do this call Monday through Friday, but at 6 a.m. on Wednesdays, we do it live for the public. Today's topic is that I'm hiring. I am hiring at $35 an hour for resellers, and I'm going to go over the pay plan with you guys right now. And then you let me know what you think, and I want to go over it with everybody in the group and people online and see what you guys think. I've been doing a lot of homework on this because at my work, everyone that works for me has the exact same job. Everybody makes $70,000 a year. So that's what $35 an hour is. And I'm going to go over it with you guys right now. Okay. So the goal is I'm going to pay $6,000 a month, $72,000 a year. The store is going to be 500 to 2,000 items in stock. You're going to have 10 sales a day at $20 profit or more. We're going to have 2 weeks of inventory backlog, so 140 items ready in case you can't find anything when you're sourcing. 2 week draft bank, so 140 listings will be ready to launch. You get, when you get the work, you're going to launch the oldest listings first, and then you are going to add new listings into the bank. Everybody gets 2 weeks of paid vacation a year, so you can also take that as sick leave if you want, but completely paid 2 weeks off. Your job is to list and sell 15 items a day, 5 days a week. You're going to take the weekends off. So you're actually launching 10 a day, 7 days a week, but the actual work part is 14 listings and one in the draft bank, 7 days a week. Now, if you want to raise, that's okay. Essentially, you need to source items that are more than $20 profit. I'm not going to allow anybody that works for me to list more than 15 items because I don't want you working all day. I want you researching all day. So once you hit your 15 items, let's call it a day, not go bigger than that. We're just going to get better items. Have to be $20 profit per item, 90-day sell-through rate, and you have to be able to list it in less than 2 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to leave it at the store. Okay. I think you need at most, 2-car garage, probably not, but if you want to get a storage unit separately, I recommend paying between $500 and $1,000 a month for rent. I recommend a dedicated photo prep, listing, shipping, and sourcing area. If you work for me, I will supply all those for you. You need about $10,000 if you're going to do this on your own. If you want to work for me, I'll supply you the money, and you have to work 40 hours a week. You're going to get the most awesome accountability partner ever, me. So if you don't do this, I'll just fire you. Really straightforward. So the goal is weekends off, 300 items a month. Ideally, you have some kind of accounting background. You have worked in a restaurant before, customer service, have a little sales background. If you're a professional, that would make it easier. Like if you've been a doctor, pharmacist, dentist, lawyer before, that would make this easier because this is doesn't require as much discipline, but you already went through professional school, so you know how to keep a schedule. So that would help. And if you've kept one job for 3 years or longer, makes you a good candidate to work for me. But as I put up here, none of these are required. Requirements: have to have a dependable car, valid driver's license, valid insurance, must have a computer and a personal hotspot for the internet, must have a smartphone for research during sourcing, and you must be able to lift 15 to 20 pounds and mobile enough to take photos. I got this from Harry in the group: faithful, attentive, and trainable, but I also added in good attitude. So faithful, good attitude, attentive, trainable. Training, 2 weeks paid training. So you come on site, I'll pay you $35 an hour to learn how to do it. For 2 weeks. After that, you should be able to do it. Everybody's W-2, everybody has workers' compensation because I live in California, so everybody has that. You get $100 a week for gas and maintenance. Not going to pay for all your car expenses, but just help out a little bit because a lot of your day is going to be driving. Okay, so if you want to do 20 listings instead of 15 a day, doesn't take that much longer, but if you want to grow in my company, you can. Health and insurance or health and vision insurance up to $1,000 I will contribute if you do 20 instead of 15. And employer 401k match, I will do that if you do 20 listings instead of 15, but no scrubs. If you do less than 20, sorry, no extra benefits for you beyond paid time off. Lunch and breaks, you get 45 minutes a day. You cannot take a lunch or a break during one of the tasks. You have to do it before or after. Customer service, picking and shipping, photos and listing. I'm even including networking here for 1 hour. I recommend you listen to one mastermind call a day. Ask questions if you need to. But I'm going to put in here optional. Not required to do any networking to be successful at reselling. Then reset to zero means you're going to put the 15 items that you listed back, prepare 15 items for the next day. You're going to check all the shipping supply levels, sweep, clear up all surfaces. If you have listings in your store that suck, you would go back and do the sold method and fix them. You would research brands and you would do your weekly financials on Friday. If you work for me, you won't have any bad items. In the beginning, if you can't find anything when we're looking and sourcing, you'll just have a smaller store. You'll just list one a day until we can find 15 a day. Sourcing, we're going to look for 15 $20 profit items in 4 hours. So you're going to spend a half a day out there looking. The goal is to find 3 to 4 items an hour. Okay, you should be able to do that. I will give you the route. Okay, so for me, we're okay spending an average cost of goods of $10 because Goodwill's become very expensive, especially in California. And if you have something that you want to buy over $10, just text me to confirm that it's worth buying. 20 into 100 all day, 20 into 50 even is fine for me. So just make sure, I'll double check to make sure it's a good buy. 3 days we're going to be at thrift stores. 1 day we're going to be at the Goodwill bins. 1 day at the flea market. If you want to go to garage sales or flea markets, I will pay you time and a half to go because these are usually very early. Only during only during these hours though. Excuse me. And then we'll also be updating our online sniping list every single day. We're going to add one new item every single day. At the end of the year, you'll have 200 plus items to snipe at home. And if you want to work from home instead of going sourcing at that point, you'll be able to do that, but not until you have a big enough list to snipe at home. So that's the job, $35 an hour. I can literally hire unlimited people as long as you can actually do this. Just wanted to share that all these people say they want to be a reseller. Well, that's what it takes. So yesterday when I presented these requirements to people, some people said, I don't want to do that. And I actually think that, excuse me, that's okay because at my job now, excuse me, I have people that work 3 hours a day. I have people that work 6 hours a day. I have people that work 8 hours a day. And I have people that work 10 hours a day. It's actually really interesting. At my job, there's people who are hustling. So they have a daytime job and they come work for me at night. There's people who I am their full-time job and they work 5 8-hour shifts. There's people who work 4 10-hour shifts because they want a 3-day weekend every single week. And then I have some people who work 6-hour shifts on the weekends because they're trying to make extra money. And I was just thinking, wow, that is so cool. I have people that start as early as 5 a.m. and people who start as late as 9 p.m. So at this point, I'm thinking, I've seen the full spectrum of resellers, people who do it before work, after work, weekends, full-time, part-time, double time. The biggest hustlers in my company, they work a full-time job for somebody else and then they work 6 hours for me after work. That's 14 hours a day of work. And they're like in their 20s and they cook every meal. What do you think this couple is going to be like? They're like 25 years old. They work 14 hours a day. They cook at home. They must be saving like 100 grand a year in their 20s. So that exists. That's out there. So I have this job available for people, but I'm going to be very selective in picking who I want to work for me. So like you guys at home listening right now, you need to be the kind of people that can do this if you want to do this job. No one is forcing you to be a reseller. So if you want to be a reseller, plenty of people would hire you. But I think a lot of people don't know what it takes. And I don't think I left anything out. I think that is the entire job description that I just went over. That's everything. Sourcing, photos, listing, prep. Why would you pick up something that takes longer than 2 minutes to get ready if you're just starting? It just, there's so many things to sell. The average person has 300,000 items in their home. That's wild, right? You can't, and I would say, I'm going to be conservative here, but I think of the 300,000 items that people have a home in their home, over 1,000 or $20 or more easily. Like I've seen people like take parts off their car that they don't use and sell those first to get some money. You don't need back seats right now. Get those back seats out of here so you can fill it with stuff. So if you're doing this yourself and you don't want to work for me, eventually you need about 10 grand for 1 to 2,000 items in your store. Because sometimes you're going to want to pay up and get a good item. You don't need that all at once, though. If you compound $1, it only takes like 6 months to make 10 grand. That's waiting for it to sell. Buy one item, wait for it to sell. When that item sells, buy two items. Wait for both items to sell. It only takes 6 months, even at that pace, to make $10,000, as long as you double your money. So right now, I've been on a hiring spree, and I was pretty inspired because I have a person that's helping me scale, right? And my initial goal for 2024 was to get to $200,000 a week in revenue. That was my goal. I want to be a 20% profit. So I want to do $200,000 a week, 20% profit. But I wasn't there yet. And I told you guys last week or 2 weeks ago was the first time I hit 100,000 in a week. So I'm 50% to that initial goal. But the guy that was looking at my business said, you have the capacity to do 400,000 a week. And to me, I had never even thought that high in my entire life. I've never thought, how could you have a business that does $400,000 a week? Right? Because I've been in this reselling world where people are trying to make $500 a week gross. I was never even taught that that is even possible. Right. And I sell on the platform Whatnot. Sorry, yes. Sorry. I sell on the platform Whatnot, and the top sellers on the platform do $2 million a week. Okay. So, like, to put in the perspective of what's possible, why not you? Why not you guys listening right now? Maybe you've never even thought that before, but these are just regular people. Whatnot is only 4 years old. That means 4 years ago, the people who are doing $2 million a week were doing zero. That's not that long ago. And they had to figure it out. You guys don't even have to figure it out. Other people have done it. On eBay, there I want this to become like my thing, but there's no speed limit for good items. There is no limit to good items you can put on eBay. None. You could put up 1,000 good items a day, provided you prove to eBay you can actually ship them. You could put up as many items as you want every single day, and they will not slow you down. It's when you start listing a whole bunch of junk that they start putting limiters on your store. They will start limiting the traffic that goes to your store because you're filling their store with garbage. eBay is one giant store. You put great items into the store, they're going to put you right at the front of traffic. So right now, the people who are working for me, I kind of consider it a cheat code because they're only getting good items to sell. Yesterday, I was training 2 staff members, and they're like, wow, this job is like not that hard. The items, people already want them. And I'm like, that's basically the whole point of this job, is to limit the amount of sorry, is to limit the number of items you list at a comfortable amount and then work on research the entire time. I'm giving you guys permission to limit listing to 1 to 2 hours a day max forever. Who here listening even wants a goal of over 50 a day? Basically, no one. So let's just keep the number of items listed low. Um, Jamie's asking in the chat if I'm personally hiring people. I am personally hiring people. I'm looking for 8 more people. Um, Next week is the first time a person is going to move here to work for me. So the pressure is on. I really don't want her to waste her time. It's really expensive living in California. So for her moving here to work for me, I'm taking that very seriously. Right. And I have 2 weeks paid, 2 weeks paid training. So when she gets here, she's going to get paid right from the get go. And within 2 weeks, I expect her to be at full capacity like everybody else. And I'm totally confident she can do it. Okay. How many resellers in this call have employees? I don't know. Does anybody in this call right now? There's 53 people here. Does anybody here have a staff member, either part-time, full-time, your niece, your uncle? Does anybody else help you? I don't know if most people do, but I think it's really, really, really important. You have the capacity for somebody. If I came to visit Dylan, I expect she would have something for me to do. A lot of people, though, if I came, wow, sorry guys, congested this morning. 1 second. If I came to Dylan's house and she said, just do what I was going to do today, I would be very disappointed in her. If I were to come to your house, you would have something that I could do that could add to your business, not just replace what you're doing. I feel like a lot of people want to hire somebody so they don't have to work, but that's cute, but like that person's going to cost money. So if you hire a person to do your job, where's your money? You just gave your money to that person, right? I want you guys to have the capacity. And this is going to be maybe a little bit weird for some people listening right now, but I don't think you guys in the group want enough stuff. People keep telling me like, "Oh, I only need $500 a week." What you're telling me is you only need the list 2 to 5 items a day. That's not that's the job and broke mentality. Just over broke is what job stands for. I don't like that. I just want to make what I need. I think that doesn't work. Entrepreneurs usually want something. What is the point of building something if you don't want something more? Are you like, I'm so far beyond what I need that it's just whatever I desire is what I'm working on each day. I think you guys need a little bit of that. What do you want? Do you want a nice car? Do you want a nice home? Do you want financial security for your kids? Do you want to pay your college education? Do you want to work only for fun? Do you want to work on your own schedule? The more you have these wants, the more you can get past what you need. What you need is hardly anything. I think so many people are just getting by because they sell what they need. I think just what you need is a terrible way to operate. All of the bigger sellers want something more. What do you guys want? Vacation? Want some time off? You want health insurance? You want financial security? You want peace of mind? You want respect from your peers? You want to go to dinner and be like, bro, I got this. Or you want to go to dinner and then when the check comes, you go use the bathroom. You just have friends like that? Is that who you are? Is that what you want?
Chris,
I know people like that. Check comes, they go to the bathroom magically. What is that? At least pretend that you're going to pay.
hey Chris, I'd like to add to that.
Go ahead.
I think when you're talking about the $500 a week, maybe sometimes people go into reselling and their goal is to work from home because they have like maybe a child they have to take care of. So the $500 is what they need to live, but the ultimate goal of what they're doing is to be able to do it from home to take care of other responsibilities. So it might not be the money all the time.
I agree. I love the idea of being able to do it from home. That's one of the biggest perks ever. I actually think that you make about 15 to 20% more margin if you work from home. So this guy's on $100 profit, you only make 75 or 80 if you do it in a storage unit or a warehouse. If you have staff, maybe you only make 25 cents of the dollar. You do it at home, you keep all the money. I love that. You get all the money and all the time. No commute. You don't have to dress up. You can wear your pajamas every day, right? You can just wake up, work, go back to sleep. You don't even need to change or shower. No change, no shower. You could eat ramen every day. That's very, very, very low overhead. You can get all the money. And if you want to do it with for the freedom of for hanging out with your kid, that's totally doable. It's just most likely you got to do it before or after they wake up. When I went to IKEA over the weekend because it's what we do when it's raining. And looking at you look at people with 4 kids, 5 kids, 1 kid, 2 kids, no kids. It's like amazingly, it all happens in the same 24 hours a day. How come somebody can have 5 kids and somebody can have no kids and they're both busy? It just, you get all done, whatever you prioritize. I think it's really important for you guys to people watch. Have you guys ever been watching and you see a dad who's taking care of everything, feeding, changing, right? You've also seen a couple where the dad's on the phone and the mom's doing all that. I mean, there's like different dynamics. Everybody's situation is different. If you want to be a reseller, you could do it on your own schedule. It's the most ridiculous concept ever. You can work at 9 p.m. I have the weirdest job opening in the world. We're open 24/7. You know how crazy that is? How many jobs are open 24/7? You want to work from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m.? I have a job for you. It's open all day. Who here woke up and they had a sale that happened when they were sleeping? That's crazy. You ever had that at your job? Go to work. Hey, thanks for clocking in. You had 4 sales before you got here today. I've never seen that before at a job. They don't do that. They only pay you while you're there. So Robert is asking, what is a good item? For me, a good item is an item that sells in 90 days or less for $20 profit or more and takes less than 2 minutes to get ready. So if you worked for me and you brought back a puzzle and we have to count how many pieces are in it, you're fired. We're not doing that. There's not something else at the store. You have to pick this puzzle that we don't know. Sealed puzzle, okay, maybe we got something, but an opened puzzle that's sold for $30, that's $1. We don't know if it's complete. I'm not getting a return. That's not going to ship first class. Let's leave that puzzle there. Go get something else. You have 4 hours to find 15 items with a smartphone and gas. I paid for your gas. We're not counting the pieces. And we're not putting don't know how many pieces in the title. I'm not doing that's not a good listing. That will not sell in 90 days for $20 profit. Didn't count them, but I'll give you a $4 discount to take the chance. No one's buying that. Matt says that he has to put his phone on focus mode so it doesn't wake him up at night. Dude, it's really fun in the beginning to have that cha-ching sound, but then I know it sounds weird, but eventually you guys will turn that sound off. It's too much. It'll be too much. I love 3D puzzles, but I'm not going to count them and sell them. Oh, thank you. So Scott says $2,000 a week versus $2 million a week are two very different operations. I agree with you. I just needed to know that it's possible. That's all. It inspired me. I was like, there's somebody out there with, and they kind of laid it out for me. 75 employees, $100 million a year. There's a company on Whatnot that does that. 75 employees and $100 million a year is insane. That's more than $1 million per employee. Okay, now obviously they're in a ridiculous category. So a normal, like their average sale price is like $300 to $500. That's not normal for a normal reseller, but just that even exists should be inspiring for some people. And I can just tell you guys, the company is called Backyard Breaks. They do sports cards, right? So somebody noticed them doing it and they copied it and did the same thing. There's another company called Bleacher Hits, also in Florida. They're both in Florida. Both those companies didn't exist 4 years ago. One person figured out The other person just copied it. Yo, guys, you don't need to figure out how to do reselling. We've already figured it out. We've already beat this horse to death. So it's already dust at this point. There's no horse left. We've kicked this horse to dust. We already know how to do it. You guys just need a schedule and you need to follow those rules. $20 profit, less than 2 minutes to get ready, 90-day sell-through rate, small store, 1 to 2 hours a day of listing, maximum 6 hours looking for stuff. Most people look for stuff for one store. They go to one store. Oh, I couldn't find anything today. Reselling is over. That's not how it works. How can the average person have 300,000 things and you can't find something? There's so much stuff. I would be like pretty shocked here if somebody said, I don't have anything to list, and I went to that person's house. What's the odds I could find something that they already that they already own that's $20 profit that they don't use, right? And it might be a piece of furniture. That's okay. You can use Facebook Marketplace. You can be resourceful. There's no speed limit on resourcefulness. Did you guys know that? You can be as resourceful as possible. There's no limit to how fast you can earn this money. There are 16-year-old people in the world that were like, oh, I noticed this. How come people weren't doing this? And they made $1 million already. And they still have acne and they're in high school. They just noticed something and they fixed it. So Kevin says if he had enough of the same items, he could do what he just did, which is listing 10 and shipping 13 in just under 1 hour. Yes, Kevin. That's the right idea. So okay, listen to this. Kevin just listed 10 and shipped 13 items in 1 hour. That means he has 7 hours left. That's a lot. In my job description, if you can get your work done early, you can go home early, but it's going to take the whole day. Oh, Kevin has 5 kids. Well, so maybe you don't have another 7 hours a day, but imagine if it took you 5 hours to list 10 and ship 13. That wouldn't work for you. Anybody have any questions?
Yes. How was the Super Bowl thing? I didn't ever get to ask you. Did you win? Did you get to go, or who got the tickets?
I got sick, so I'm giving. I lost my voice, so
Oh no.
I'm gonna give away Super Bowl tickets this Friday.
Oh,
So you
okay.
guys should
So it
all
never
come.
happened.
You can all come. Use my coupon to get $15 off. I have 1,000 pairs of shoes I'm gonna sell for $15 just to get new people to sign up for Whatnot, so you can get shoes for free and hopefully win a trip to the Super Bowl. And please take me. If
I
you
love
if you if
it.
you,
You want to
you
go?
you guys get 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. If you take me, I'll pay for the flight and the hotel. If you don't take me, then you got to pay for that on your own, or you could resell the tickets for 20 grand. Um, on Friday, I'm going to be doing it all day, probably like from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or something. But like, hopefully, the person that wins takes me, but they might want 20 grand. That's a lot of money. That's like life changing money for a lot of people. So I will respect you if you resell them. That's okay. But I want you to take me. That would be sick. And then I think I'm gonna do Final Four tickets for March. I don't know what else you guys think would be cool for a giveaway in March. Or then when is the New Orleans thing? When's Mardi Gras? Maybe that would be a good gift. I don't know if anybody lives in New Orleans, but I've never been. My wife's been. She said it's awesome, so I want to maybe go. Because I think people are really into trips. So if I can give away a trip, I think that's exciting for people. I need people to join the app, and um, yeah, I'm excited. Jamie says there's people on eBay selling eBay tape and lots of four. Yep. I mean, there's so many different ways to make money. Mardi Gras is February 13th this year. Dang, it's too late to give away a trip for that. But I'll do Mardi Gras next year for sure. I want to go to that event. But now I realize I can just cheat. I can just give away stuff like this and then write it off. So let's do some epic stuff this year. You guys let me know what you want to do. Reseller cruise. Maybe I'll figure out an event that we can do that. How many people would want to go on a reseller cruise? Is that interesting? And how long? I've never been on a cruise. How long is fun for a cruise? Does it get boring after like a few days? Stanley Cup Finals. When is that? Stanley Cup Finals. How do I find out when that is? Let's see. Is it not a specific day? Oh, it's to be decided. Interesting. They don't have it like a year in advance. 5 days.
They have to schedule it around concerts and stuff.
I see. Okay. I love watching hockey. It's awesome. It's like it's a little bit hard for me to watch since I'm not used to the pace, but man, it is so exciting.
You have to remember with hockey, the Stanley Cup is always where the two teams are.
I
So
see.
they don't, yeah. So that's why they can't say it's going to be like this year will be in Boston, right? So they can't say, that a year ahead of time. If anybody didn't catch my drift on that.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. So
So the Bruins are going.
people are saying 5 day cruise. 5 day cruise. Interesting. So weekend get together sounds good. Maybe we'll work our way up. But I want the weekend get together to be epic. When is that garage sale that's like a mile or like 50 miles long? Where is that? Maybe I'll so okay. If you wanted to go to that giant garage sale that's like multiple miles long, how would you guys do that? Would you take a trailer? How do you go to something like that and make it worth your time? Like if you traveled for that to the biggest garage sale in the world. Carolyn says Albuquerque Balloon Festival. Oh, wait, let me see. What is that? What is that thing called? Let's see. Bottle Rock. Wonder if it's sold out. Oh, there. I think it's not sold out. Let's see. Okay, it's still available. So maybe I'll give away Bottle Rock tickets. Oh, Coachella is really good. I will do that. Lauren, that might be it. It's in Alabama. World's longest yard sale, 690 miles. Sheesh. That is really long. That's like multiple days. Well, now here's the thing, Marika. I'm gonna pay for it. So how do we get the Disneyland for a family of seven? Oh man, that's intense, Kevin. But that would be epic. I think a lot of people would come for that. Disneyland trip. Wow. Disney. That's insane. How much is Disney? It's expensive, right? Is it $400 a person? Family of 10 would be intense. You guys are on the other side of the country, I think. How much would it cost for a family of 10 to go to Disneyland? Probably a lot. Winner's choice.
Keep in mind, Chris, there's a Disneyland on both sides of the country.
That's true. Disney World, I think, is better though. Yeah, that's fine. Food, lodging, souvenirs, that's all part of it. I can't imagine like going all the way to Disneyland or Disney World and like you don't want to buy a churro, even though it's $12. Like you're already there. Might as well go broke. They got you already. You're already there. Um, but it's just like another one item a day you could pay for a Disneyland trip. That's why I looked up all the benefits that people want: health insurance, dental, vision, paid time off, flexible schedule. Reselling has all of it. How come people aren't more successful? Can you guys let's try to answer that question this morning. If reselling has everything people are looking for, how come there's not more successful resellers? And people already know how to do it. Is it just the sourcing? People don't want to spend 6 hours a day looking. Patrick says yard sale, pay for a van life van. Um, Maybe a van life with a trailer. Wouldn't you need more room for 600 miles for stuff? You feel like you could fill up a van in just like 10 garage sales. Maja, I don't think it's hard to control the sale. If you have good items, people buy. Kevin says they don't want to list and they buy stuff that's worthless. Lack of personal accountability. People who view it as a side hustle. That's a good one. Mindset.
People are afraid to work for themselves because they don't take good care of their time without being told like how to work and clock in and clock out. So, in my opinion, the majority of that would be because people are too afraid to own their own businesses.
Yeah, I think so. Jason says people don't realize how much work it is. But don't they know how much work it is? If you watch like 5 YouTube videos, someone will say, like, this is a lot harder than you think it would be. Like, if you didn't know how hard it was, what are you watching? Andrea says poor sourcing early on. Interesting. Meg says Mel Robbins is on point. You keep working for the goal because our brain likes the planning and the attempted execution. We don't actually get a big rush of dopamine when you actually do it. So what? People get excited thinking about Disneyland, but not in the plan to go there. You could pay for a Disneyland trip of 10 for 10 people with like 2 listings a day. That's like $8,000. That's actually $8,000 probably not enough. Depends on how close you are to Disney World or Disneyland, but maybe like 4 or 5 a day. You could take a 10
Hey,
vacation. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm a pretty optimistic, go with the flow person. I think going to Disney World is funner in the planning than actually going if you're going with kids. it's a it's a myth that you're gonna have a magical time. Disney did the best job ever. It's like they did the level of PR that they did on Michael Jordan in the '90s to make him seem like he's like kid friendly and smiley when he's like the most competitive gambling degenerate person on the planet. Going to Disney World with the kid is like a day of like crying and fighting and doing stuff that you don't want to do, they don't want to do, and then maybe you have fun for an hour, and the rest of it is just like it's too hot, everything's expensive, your kid doesn't want to go on half the rides. If you have more than one kid, forget it. So I think planning Disney World is more fun than actually going, and I love Disney World.
Makes sense. Marika says it takes a lot of self-direction, willingness to learn and adapt, and patience to be a reseller. What words would I use to describe a good reseller? I think that if I were going to describe a good reseller, I would say that you're impatient and patient at the same time. Like you take action immediately, you go out and look for stuff immediately, but you're patient and letting your store grow. And if you can't find anything, you don't list garbage. You just list nothing. I give you permission to list nothing. better than a big store of items that don't sell. Just gotta like understand, maybe faith is a big one. You have to believe that people will come and buy your items and you have good ones. Jamie says discipline, one word.
There's no consequence to doing a bad job. Chris, there's no consequence at all.
No consequence of doing a bad job, you said?
Yeah. Like if somebody's doing a bad job that works for you, you're going to fire them.
Right.
If I'm doing a bad job for myself, I just, you just don't make money.
That's true.
TV's on. There's so many distractions when you're working at home.
I know. That's the part that like I was just, everything has been about environment change for me. And I realized that like if you stay in the same environment with the same mindset, what are the odds you're going to actually change? But if you come to work for me and in an environment where if you don't do it, you get fired, it doesn't take any motivation or inspiration. You just show up, do what you're supposed to do, and go home. The only other option is to not show up, and that's it. Jamie says, if you're not making money, haven't you already fired yourself? Unfortunately, no. A lot of people here are still working for themselves and they haven't been written up and there's no penalty. What would you guys do if you're going to write yourself up? What would you write? What would you say? I can write myself up all day. There's all so many things I could do better. Autumn, you can't write somebody up for being too slow. Can you? Is that even legal? I don't think you can
Oh,
write
no, but that's what I would get written up for is dilly-dallying.
Oh, dilly-dallying is not the same
Yeah.
thing as too slow.
Okay.
Well,
It's-
you could in theory write someone up for being too slow.
Yeah?
Yeah, if you have clear metrics and you
Oh.
say you need to be able to complete 5 of these in an hour, and they only complete 4 consistently after document, yeah, that you could do. Absolutely. You can't say, hey, you walk slow, right? Unless they're supposed to hit a certain mile per hour or something like that. But yeah, as long as you have it documented and you can track it, you can absolutely then hold them accountable to it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kim, you can't write somebody up for lack of motivation. That's just a do you want to be here at work or not? Jason said if he wrote himself up, it would be for not sticking to the process. What do you guys think? You're supposed to do this, but you do something different?
That's kind of what I do. I tend to, I have cats and whatnot, and I tend to, I get tired, so I go slower than, like you said, the 20-year-olds are going so fast and they're doing things so fast. Like 10 years ago, maybe I was, as I recently turned 40, I'm in the 40 club now. And 10 years ago, I could run circles around myself. So maybe it's, I don't know.
What about
I need to go faster. Like
Go
you
ahead,
guys
Becky.
go fast.
Hey, don't put down us 40-something-year-olders. I feel like I'm just as speedy and peppy as ever.
Oh, good. Okay,
Drink
maybe
more coffee.
get some advice from you because I'm a slowpoke and I need to speed it up. I want to speed it up because I want to be done by 2 instead of finishing at 5 every day and then trying to go sourcing after that. It's like ridiculous. It's dinner time. I want to be home.
So what about if people can you get written up for adding in extra steps? Because somebody that used to work for me, what they would do is I had this process where you tear off the label. It says shipment number 24 on it. You get item number 24. You put it into the bag, you put the label that says number 24 on the package, seal the package, put it into the bin to go out for shipping. And what she would do is tear apart all the labels first. Then one at a time, she would pick up the piece of paper, see the number 24, highlight it with a highlighter, ask me to order highlighters, put the highlighter back, then numerically organize them, and then start. And it would take like 40 minutes. And I was like, if you want to do this task, you can't get paid for it. It doesn't make sense. You're doing like 40 minutes of extra work for no reason. Just says number 24 on it, go get number 24 and ship it. Why would you underline it? You already have it in your, why would you alphabetize or sequentialize the whole thing when you already are holding the first? I would be done shipping before you even start. I just, do people tend to just add in a whole bunch of stuff? I mean, I'm guilty of this too, but I'm just wondering if people intent, like putting, is it just as easy to put the dish in the dishwasher? Is that really true? Or do you guys feel like it's much more difficult? I think it's the extra steps.
I had listened to a Steve Covey audiobook one time, and one of his tips to be productive and shave off all the fat was if it takes 2 minutes or less, do it now.
Yep.
That was kind of his mantra. If it takes you 2 minutes or less to file that piece of paper, to pay that bill, to put that dish in the dishwasher, do it now.
That makes sense to me. I just think, I think it's the extra steps. That's what's taking people so long. And when I put I think I help my staff out so much by telling them they can't take a break during a task. Take as long of a break as you need before or after. Just taking a break in the middle of a task makes zero sense to me. It's so hard.
We just talked about this yesterday in my call, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled an article from a university about focusing and just working for 15 minutes without any interruptions, not checking your phone, nothing, and just focus and get your energy levels there. And then after 15 minutes, take a little break to check messages or get a sip of your drink or what have you, and then get back at it again and just like block things. And they proved how the 8-hour work week is not productive. It was an interesting article. So we did part 1 yesterday, and we're going to do part 2 next Tuesday.
I love it.
Yeah, it was really great.
Becky, I think it's like for me, if this is the routine, put the kids down for bed, or I call it putting the kids away. Put the kids away. Then immediately I have to go shower, come back, do all the dishes, all the surfaces, and then sit down. And so I was describing this to my videographer, and she says, this is what my husband does. Put the kids down, looks for a show to watch while he does the dishes or helps out. Hour and a half later, didn't do anything. So I'm just saying, like, the same exact thing, right? It's just that look for a show to watch versus immediately doing all the stuff is so different. I can tell you guys though that I have been enjoying my time after that a lot more, not having to do it after. It's horrible, like taking a break and then afterwards you got to do all the dishes and surfaces, and it's just horrible. Papa says his takeaway for the day is if you can't list it in 2 minutes or less, don't buy it. Is that a rule that is okay for everyone, or do you feel like you have to buy projects if they're worth a lot? Do you guys think that you can fix somebody when you date somebody? Do you want a project? Who here prefers dating a project versus someone who's already done? Like, have you ever asked somebody, like, how's the new person you're dating? And they're like, they could be good. That's that's not necessarily good though. They could be good. They could, if that means that they're currently bad though.
So my wife would tell you I'm still a project. And I do the dishes every night because she cooks, and I hate doing it right after we eat. I prefer to try to wash them as she's finishing them while she's cooking because
Mhm.
I hate doing it the other way. It's such a drain or
Yeah.
drag. Yeah.
Um, Lauren says sometimes people pick up projects because they think that's all they are worth or that's the best that's available. I'm telling you guys right now, you deserve better.
Oh, well, I'll say this, Chris. I stopped taking projects that were shoes. Used shoes that I find, I will not take a project anymore because they're still sitting in a container waiting for me to do a major cleaning, buy things for them, things like that. I won't do it anymore. So that's just relating it to what we do, but it's much, much harder to do that because I don't know about most people. When you get a project, it sits and it doesn't get done.
Yeah. Keith says he can't list anything in under 2 minutes. That's good because, I mean, I'm sorry, it's good that you know that, but I'm saying try not to pick up anything that takes longer than 2 minutes to get ready to photograph. I think you can just, so let's say it takes 10 minutes to get ready. Why can't you just spend 10 more minutes and find something that's already ready to list? Okay, let me back up for a moment. There's a lot of people here. How many people go out and find items? Is it only people who buy online? I feel like most of the people listening, they go out and find their items. Can't you just go a little bit longer instead of buying something that takes forever to get ready? And damage does not mean it has to take forever to get ready. Just list it as is. I told you guys I found a wolf range. It was like $6,000. It was free. I went there. I picked it up in my van. I put it on a piece of cardboard. It was like 300 pounds. I took it home. I left it on the cardboard and sold it on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and the lady just came and picked it up. I put it in the very front of my storage unit. She came and it actually took longer than I had hoped. It took 2 days to sell. So I had this giant range in the front of my storage unit for 2 days, but that's because I was overcharging. I put $500 for this wolf range, and a million people asked me questions. Then I realized, what am I doing? I just put $75, and then a lady with a white Lexus picked it up. Brandon says he only picks items that are 7 out of 10 or higher condition wise. Have you guys thought about that? Anybody here agree or disagree with that? Brandon picks items that are 7 out of 10 or higher condition wise.
Chris, I agree with you on the no projects like in general, but I do think there's like a specific case where if you have like an expert ability that most people don't have,
Yeah.
that it might be worth it. Like if you know how to repair a cassette deck, you can get broken cassette decks for like $5, three, they probably even get them for free. And if you can fix it, relatively fast, like you know what you're doing, those are like 40, 50, 60, $70 things. And if it's like your hobby and it's fun for you to do it, I wouldn't then if like that, if you can do that, then also like go buy a bunch of sweaters with holes in them and try and fix them. But there are like some things where it's like if you have the level of expertise to take something that a lot of people have broken and you can't get new ones and repair it, like you can make a whole business off that. So I think it depends on what the situation is, but overall, no projects.
But what if you're not an expert, or it's not,
Yeah, if you're not,
or it's not your hobby?
yeah, then it's not worthwhile to do, but for someone who has that knowledge, I mean, I'll say this, like I've been trying to make it as easy as possible on myself. That being said, like I love to like sort and build Legos. So it's like that's a project. It takes time, right? But like I'll still buy a box of like unsorted Legos if it looks like most of the pieces there. And I'll like spend a night doing that with my daughter and then put it up for sale. So like that's like my version of it. I'll allow myself to do that, but I'm not going to buy any other project that's just a straight project to try and get a little extra money out of it, right? So I would say no if you're not an expert, or if it's not your hobby, or it's not like the one thing you designate as like, hey, I like to do this. I'll do this little extra work for the sale in my spare time.
I think this is a really good, really, really good topic. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, sorry, man. I was just gonna say, I mean, yeah, I see what Matt's saying, but for me, like, there's no getting around the fact that even if it is your skill set, it's going to slow you down. I think it's a different business model. You know, for me, working on furniture, I'm really good at making it look better. But I said 7 out of 10 because I have a certain goal of how many pieces I want to get up every day, and there's no question that if I buy a 5 out of 10, it's going to take me longer to get it ready, and it's going to hinder me and slow me down. The only exception would be if it's a crazy high value piece and it's worth that, which is very rare.
I wanted to share with you guys that the repair business, it's expensive. If you take your car in and you're like,